So very nice to start with the story of Uddhava. So we are in the Narada Bhakti Sutras, and today we're going to go with the first sutra. So last week we explained all about Narada, what is Sutra, little bit about what is Bhakti. Today we will start from Sutra number 1. I'll chant and then you can repeat after me. Athato Bhaktim Vyakhyasyaamaha. Bhaktim Vyakhyasyaamaha. So Sutra 1 says, Atha. Atha means now. Ataha, therefore, Bhaktim, the doctrine of devotion, Vyakhyasyaamaha, we shall explain. So first, Naradaji is giving the pratignya for the text. Means he's declaring what the text is about. And he says, we explain because he knows that nothing is his. All knowledge comes through him. And this is the knowledge of many saints and sages, many rishis put together. It's not just his. So he says, Vyakhyasyaamaha. What is the now? Atha. So very beautifully in Gurudev's commentary here, he says that Atha means after having developed these qualities. After having developed these qualities, then one gets into devotion, or one is able to understand really what devotion is. What are these 7 qualities? So the first one is viveka, but this viveka, it's on my book, page 9, so it should be around there for your book as well. First one is viveka, but it's very specific. It's discrimination in food. Now just think, to understand devotion, we must have discrimination in food. How does that connect, right? So in our Shastra, it says that the one who can control their tongue can control everything. This tongue, Gurudev always says, it's 2 inches of taste, but it gives us so much trouble. It's just 2 inches. So much trouble. What is the viveka of food? The viveka, or the discernment of food, one, we know what kind of food to eat, right? That we've seen in the Bhagavad Gita, sattvic food. But then another is when to eat it. So if there is some kind of discipline as to when exactly we eat, and not snacking in between and not putting things in our mouth while we're walking and we're going here and going there, where we're driving, when do we eat? Then where do we eat? If we're eating in front of a computer or in front of something, that's adharma already, right? Dharma means right thing, right place, right time. So where do we eat? At a proper table, at a setting. And how to eat. How to eat means don't get up, sit, eat, enjoy. And this becomes clear in our Shastra when we see food, not as food, but as Annapurna Devi. Food is a Devi, right? The river is a Mata. The earth is a Devi. Everything is deified. Everything we say is a Devata or a Devi, because when we see God in that, when we see God in everything, then we respect it. We treat it with so much respect. So when food comes to us, it's Annapurna Devi blessing us. It's her blessing us. And that is a great blessing, to be nourished by that. So how we can be grateful for that is just have that viveka. Have that viveka for food and that respect for food. Because if we can control that, then everything else becomes easy. Everything else becomes easy. And the mind now can be taken in devotion. You know, sometimes when we're hungry, stomach's upset, indigestion, all of these things happen and our minds can revel in something higher. So the idea in Vedanta and in Bhakti is to eat so that you don't have to think of the body. Eat so that we can forget body identification. That's the reason. Eat so much that the body is not disturbed, that you forget that you have a body. And you're just going on day-to-day work, either letting Bhagwan flow through you in service, in devotion, in knowledge, whatever it is. So the first one is viveka in food. Eat so that we forget we have a body. It means it's so much taken care of, it's fit, and we forget that it's there. Then what he says is freedom from desire, vimukha. Now, to be free from desire is quite a difficult thing. So how do we apply this? What do we take this as? Vimukha means, mukha means face. Vimukha means turn your face. When there is something that we are not supposed to be involved in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, I am that desire that is not opposed to dharma. So if there's a desire that's opposed to dharma, then vimukha, we must have the strength to turn away from it. Whatever it is, it's there, it's in front of us, it's tempting us, turn away from it. Say that's just not the way we're supposed to do things. So in my mind as a seeker, I have to have this thought that no, I have to do it in a dharmic way, right? Otherwise, vimukha, turn away from it. We don't need it. So someone who's pursuing this path of devotion also takes a lot of strength. This path is not for the weak. Devotion takes a strong mind. The third one is practice or abhyasa. Now, what do you think the practice is here? When we think about practice, we think about the repeated sadhana, repeated doing of something. But in this practice, I'm going to ask you to think of one thing, and that is to remember this thought, the thought that Bhagavan loves me. Not that I love Bhagavan, that should be there, or I'm thinking of Bhagavan, but Bhagavan also loves me. God also loves me. In fact, God loves me so much that God has given me such a wonderful place for me to evolve and grow, to realize my oneness with that ultimate being. So the practice is, think of the many, many ways that God loves you and me. How blessed we've been. How Bhagavan has been holding us all along, every step of the way. We often pray to God, please take care of us, please look after us. But we forget how much God has already looked after us. We forget that. How do you think we got here? It's not just by our mere effort. It's a lot of grace. It's a whole lot of grace. So that practice, that Bhagavan loves me, I will be okay. I don't have to worry about it. That's the practice. Then, habit of doing good to others, or what we call kriya. So doing good to others shouldn't be a thought. When there's a request, can you do this? And it's something good, something noble, something uplifting. Say yes. I know there's thoughts that come in the mind, but how do I do it? Will I be able to do it? I don't know if I'll have time to do it. All these thoughts come. Know that when a good opportunity or an opportunity to do good comes your way, it's meant for you and I to grow, and we can do it. It wouldn't have come your way or my way if we couldn't do it. We just have to expand. You know, every time when in this field, every time there's always more. And I'm always like, now there's more. What do we do? And the only answer is just expand. Just expand. And I'm always thinking to myself, where will you find time? But then when I look at my schedule, I see now there is places where I really waste time, where my mind wanders. So then take that out and then expand more. And then again, you realize that, oh my gosh, there are places where the mind wanders, it's distracted. Take that out. There's more to give. So when things come to us, It just means we have to expand and grow. They come to us because they're meant to come to us for our own growth. So habit of doing good to others, accepting that. Then 5th is purity in thought, word, deed, non-violence, charity, and such other virtues, or kalyana. What is this kalyana? What is this purity? This purity means this. Our minds will be mixed. They'll be mixed. Sometimes negative thoughts will come. Thoughts that we don't even want to come will come. And sometimes we're even wondering, why do I have that thought? Why do I have such thought? So what is this purity? If these thoughts still come to my mind, the purity is as soon as it comes, chuck it out. Take it out. Just take it out. As soon as that impure thought comes of any sort, take it out. Because if we allow it to grow, it will take hold of us. It will stay there. So the minute that it's there, just let it go. Let it go and bring the mind to something else. In that way, the mind can be kept in that purity as often as possible. Once when we catch it, then twice we'll catch it, thrice we'll catch it. This becomes a habit until the mind becomes very, very divinized that we actually are able to observe the mind and detach ourselves from it. Then the 6th one is cheerfulness or anavasada. Anavasada. So a bhakta has to be cheerful. There can't be any sad bhaktas or stressed out bhaktas or tired bhaktas. What is this anavasada, cheerfulness? What is this quality? This anavasada means that wherever I go, I'm always fresh. So whoever I'm with, not that, oh my gosh, today was so crazy and I'm meeting somebody. No, wherever we go, fresh. And this is something those who have families and everything, you will learn this big time. When you have kids, you have to be fresh. There cannot be those days where you're dragging yourself. Anavasada. Cheerfulness means everywhere fresh, that freshness, that cheer, no matter what happens. Because that shows that we respect the God in front of us, that we're giving what we can. Then last is an absence of excessive hilariousness or anudharsha. Anudharsha means absence of these highs and lows. So now, all these 7 qualities, it says here, now having developed them to some extent, ata, therefore, we shall explain bhakti. So this is what we call the adhikari for bhakti. For Vedanta, we have the sadhana chatushtaya sampanna. But here we have these 7 qualities. So now, what does he say is that bhakti? What is the nature of that bhakti? So we will touch upon Sutra 2 today. Just lightly touch. Sutra 2. What is the nature of this bhakti now? Satvasmin parama prema rupa Satvasmin parama prema rupa. Sa, that bhakti, that devotion. Tu, indeed, asmin in that. Parama prema rupa, it's of the nature of supreme devotion. Asmin means in the self, in God, in goddess. It's said in that because it encompasses the truth, the true being, that God, goddess, in whatever form you and I relate to. So that bhakti, indeed, asmin, in that divine being, rupa. Rupa means it's of the nature. Prema of devotion, but what kind? Supreme devotion. Supreme devotion. So when we think about devotion, right? What is devotion? And how is this devotion different from love? Regular love, when we love someone, how is that different from this devotion to the higher? So as I said, we'll touch upon these. Here, I'll share my screen with you. I'll touch upon these, but this is going to be your discussion. So I'm just going to literally point some things out and I'll want you to discuss further. Now, Gurudev has this beautiful book called I Love You Letters. And in that book, he explains Sneha and Prema. Sneha, he says, is this lower love, this is affection. And Prema is higher love or devotion. So here, Prema, Prema Rupa. Sneha means it's directed to something lower. But Prema, it's directed to something higher, a higher ideal. So we hear these words, Matra Pitra Bhakti, devotion to our parents, Guru Bhakti, devotion to the teacher, Desha Bhakti, devotion to our country, Ishwara Bhakti, devotion to God, etc. Right? So this is when our love is directed to something greater, something higher, which we're looking up to. Sneha is love directed to lower. Now, how do I know that it's something higher? This is a question. This is one question. How do I know that it's something higher? When I love something higher, it makes me expand to love the whole universe. So for example, when I love my parents, what happens is my parents, they are higher because they make me expand my love. They'll say, this is my mom or dad will say, this is my sister, this is my brother, this is my mother, this is my father. Now these are your cousins, and this is your extended family. So my love for my parents are higher because they expand my love. They make me now love all my cousins, all my relatives, all over the world. They expand it. So that's how I know they're higher. My teachers. How do I know my teacher is higher? Because my teacher will tell me, oh, see this person, look at this person, go to this person. They will make me expand to love more and more people, to uplift myself. The teacher who just limits you to them only, that is not called love, that's called attachment, right? Then country. When I love my country, that will also make me so expansive because I love everybody, everything about my country. Swami Vivekananda, when he was asked once, right? He was asked, you've left India now, you've gone to America, you've left Bharat, you've gone to America, to Europe, etc. And now that you're coming back to India, after all of your travels, how do you feel? And you know what he said? He said, now even the dust of Bharat Mata is dear to me. That's how his bhakti was. The dust of Bharat Mata is dear to me. And when we love God, what to talk of God and knowledge, it again makes us expand. So I know that I'm loving something higher if that being makes me expand my love. If that being keeps my love only to that thing or being, that is called sneha. That is lower love. Then, of course, these points you already know. In sneha, there is this it's wanting to escape the feeling of loneliness or incompleteness. That's why we are loving that being or thing. We want to escape that loneliness. But in prema, here, it is just that feeling of wanting to give, because that being able to give is a fulfillment in itself. That's the very joy in itself. If the result comes, it's a bonus. So then here in Sneha, we have total dependence on whom we love. But in Prema, we are independent. And in Sneha, there is this passive aggressive kind of relationship where one enslaves the other, one dominates the other because they want to keep each other. So they'll do whatever they want to keep each other. But in Prema, it's really the spirit of two becoming one. Because we understand there's something greater, that love is true love when it really understands that there is something greater than just us. Means there's that truth that we have to evolve to. That is called Bhakti, Prema, that love for the higher. So now you get the sense of what it means to love higher. That being has to make me expand to love others. Then that is a higher ideal. That is a higher being. Okay? So I'll pause here for a moment.